clip. Is that okay? Is that reasonable to you? Do you support that? And we're going to hear all the excuses, but we have to put that question to them, because I think most people, reasonable people, will say, this is insanity.
But something has to be done. We are going to have to take meaningful action. We have endured too many of these tragedies. When is it going to get so bad that lawmakers, people in Washington, will address what's happened?
This is something we're going to have to do. We're going to have to take some action. This has happened too many times. We'll see in the days ahead what that amounts to. But, you know, people don't talk about trying to get these guns out of the hands of these emotionally disturbed people. Or not able to get it. And that, it's a very serious problem. It's a very complicated problem. But perhaps this will be the day that, starting with the president, Washington finally got serious about trying to do something about this.
Really, Nora, there's nothing I can or should add. The American public saw exactly what the president's emotional reaction to this was. It was evident to everyone who watched the president pause, to take in the moment of that pause, and they saw him wipe a tear from his eyes. That, in all ways, encapsulates the president's emotional reaction. He said to the country, we've seen too many of these tragedies, and that it is time to take meaningful action, regardless of the politics. He said something he has never said before in immediate reaction to events like this, which he has witnessed in his presidency. Mass shootings, victims, children, inexplicable horror, suggesting to the country that he is prepared to take action and perhaps political risks he hasn't before to confront and change the underlying dynamics that brought this tragedy and this grimly historic day to the briefing room and the rest of the country.
It doesn't even seem real. It just does not seem like it's even possible. It's
They did walk a guy out of the woods. I saw him walk a guy out earlier with handcuffs. And he walked by us and said he didn't do it.
It was a grown man.
A grown man, yeah. He's sitting in the front of the police car over there now. So, I mean...
He didn't have a gun?
No, I didn't see any gun. Just had him handcuffed. And he walked by us and looked into parents' eyes and said, I didn't do it.
How was he dressed?
Camo pants with a dark jacket.
Two shooters were initially believed involved in the mass shooting. One of those shooters now dead. What's not been confirmed is whether or not that gunman took his own life or whether or not there was something that ensued after authorities began arriving at the scene. And now the big question will be, is there in fact that second shooter, and where is that second shooter?
He was also, Jay Carney specifically asked about whether assault weapons ban, whether that remains a commitment of the president. And the answer was yes, it does remain. It does remain a commitment of his. There were reports, you touched on it earlier, Trace touched on it earlier, of a possible accomplice. And there was some tape of police. Look at the pictures. There were reports of a second person, perhaps an accomplice, and then we didn't hear much more about that. First we'd heard that they had been pushed off of that. Now we're getting more reports, unconfirmed as of this hour, Rick, but we're getting more reports now from other sources that a second person may be in custody. Have the police said anything about whether they believe that piece of the investigation is still open?
Well, what we had heard was that there was a potential second suspect. You know, oftentimes after these